Well, normally I would give everybody a bunch of time to be ready and set to go on this thing, but I have held this up trying to figure out how to use Pool Float's newfangled, less jank restream, and I have no idea how to make it work. So I have defaulted back to my own little setup here. And we are going to rock and roll. I'm gonna go ahead and set the racers off, I think. And provided that they're both still good and ready to have some fun here on a Thursday night, we're gonna get this thing kicked off. Yeah, Pool Float, I'm gonna need a tutorial. I started trying to figure out how to crop, and I could not figure out how to access any of my normal cropping tools. So, if I couldn't crop anybody, we weren't going to be doing anything. And therefore, rather than hold the race up indefinitely while I tried to figure it out, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go with what I still know how to work, and we're just going to play the video game. The gate is dropped, the 15-second countdown is underway. I will play with my volume levels here just a little bit. We'll choose a game audio to go with. We'll start with player one audio. That'll be fine, right? Let's see, I don't know that I need to monitor when I'm the only one hearing it. So as long as it's still coming through for everybody else, that should be fine. Yeah, that's what I expect. I just kind of looked at it and I'm like, well, you know what? I don't know how to start grabbing hold and modifying these things, and that's a problem when I need to grab hold and modify these things. Ooh, 100 rupees for free? And then 20 for 10? Yeah, we'll take 20 for 10, sure. Let's see here, Matty got underway just a little early, so we'll pause him and let Adilor quote-unquote catch up. Automated syncing would be wonderful. I have no idea how to do it, but that's neither here nor there. Jankstream hype, here we go. This is not Why Is That There? That's another one of those things that was changed in the updated version, and that particular change is easy to work with. This is True Pot Hunt. Probably play with this just a little bit. There we go. And now our runners are off and rolling. You start with a whole bunch of money. You start with boots and a lamp, and you just go about your merry way. It's an easy enough game. All of the pots have been shuffled with treasure under them, or trash in the case of a mapped pod, or a small key to castle tower. How much do you really want to climb that? In any event, there are 420 Triforce pieces shuffled in amongst all of the rest of this stuff, and our runners have to collect at least 213 of them. There's nothing preventing either runner from collecting more if they are so inclined. And personally, I find this to be one of the more entertaining modes to watch in the tournament. Even though I'm not normally much of an entrance rando person, and the reason being, unlike a lot of rando races where you get to a point where you think, oh, well, I know how this is going to turn out. If one runner has a pretty obvious and substantial advantage that's likely to carry through to the end of the seed, in this, all of that can be overthrown in a matter of moments when somebody finds a nice, dense dungeon that has 50 or 60 or 70 checks in it, and they get a whole bunch of Triforce pieces, and you can see the lead changes. It feels much more like say, an automobile race than it does a lot of rando races. You get maybe 1, 2, 3, if you're really lucky, reversals of fortune in a rando race. Now, let's say you're playing Kaz Boots. You don't expect a whole lot of lead changes to go on there. But in True Pot Hunt, oh baby, you have options, 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 and all sorts of ways to succeed. And right now our runners are, well, they were absolutely even, and then Adilor says, well, I found another one. There are only 420 of them. Well, now Matty has that one too. That's the other thing about this. Usually, if you don't get those gigantic lead changes because of people landing on different spaces at different times, you'll get a situation like this, where both runners have essentially the same count, or off by 1 or 2, and you have a really close race the entire time. Either way, it makes for really entertaining viewing, in my opinion, and we'll be bringing it to you live. Adilor and norskmatty putting on the show on Thursday evening. This is already Adilor's 5th game of this group stage. I believe he has one more game with Matty to finish up his entire group stage set of matches. Which is pretty crazy when you stop and think about the fact that we opened this up for tournament play 4 or 5 days ago? Yeah. Some people have really gotten right on this, and I wonder if they're just going to start playing some more of the modes on their own time, because they're going to have run out of their group stage matches. Oh, there's Hotel Mario from Matty. But Adilor has found the main section of desert, and the main section of desert has quite a few pots in it. Interesting. Matty choosing to buy one of those 95 rupee Triforce pieces, but not both. Now, money can be a little squirrely to get at. Kakariko contains 19 vital items. Well, yeah. Since the Triforce pieces are vital items, you are unlikely to be wrong there, hint tile. The hint tiles are on for this, amusingly enough. Not that all of the hints are necessarily all that helpful. Well, J-Joe, I wasn't going to say it, but you did. And not everybody has been quite as on top of doing all of their races in the first week like Group Albatrosses has. And see, here you're seeing one of these early swings where Adilor has gotten into the front of desert with... There are a total of 56 checks between front and back of desert, and all of a sudden has a 10 Triforce piece lead. Which is all well and good, but then if Matty lands on something equally silly like Eastern or Hera or maybe Palace of Darkness... Palace of Darkness maybe a little less just because you need so many keys for it, but... Quite a few of these dungeons have a lot of available checks where you can just go in, clear out a whole swath of stuff, and then move along. They're probably all just intimidated by you, TJ, that's all. Ooh, Matty thought about taking that drop and said, wait a minute, maybe it's Ganon, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's a Triforce piece. You can certainly see a little bit from, we're looking at Maddie again here, they thought of, do I need to walk down over where the fairies actually are in this cave and see if there are pots there? There's simply so much in the game that you don't think about regularly, even if you're playing a more normal entrance randomizer, like let's say that you're a cross keys player. You still just know, oh, this is a cave that I don't go in. The thought of what's in there doesn't necessarily always cross your mind. Here we go, Link's house, which has the unfortunate distinction of not having 3 hearts under those pots. That can be a bit of a deal breaker for where you want to start sometimes. But Adilor's found a sword and is roaming around the village, making all of these entrance checks like you do in an entrance game. Now you could probably conveniently complete one of these swordless. I don't know that there would be anything really stopping you from it. It's entrance, so it's not as though you need the medallion dungeon. The medallion dungeons, quote unquote. You may not need to enter those entrances, so the lack of a sword wouldn't really stop you there. And at that point, what? It would mean that you would need Fire Rod for Ice Palace? Okay, that's probably not a deal breaker either. Lasers. Lasers hurt. Especially on green mail and 3 hearts. A small key to the Palace of Darkness. And another one of those Triforce pieces. So 10 minutes in, Adilor with, what was that, an 11 Triforce piece edge? At least at the moment. That is unlikely to obtain over the course of the entire race. This is a fun room to try and dance around in. And the Triforce piece guarded by the Bunny Beam, but the Bunny Beam doesn't know how to come get you. Trey Spire raiding in with a party of 11. Welcome in, everybody. You're getting in pretty close to the ground floor of this one. We have not been going all that long. Where does your timer stop, Adilor? That's becoming my question. If we try and pick up the entirety of True Pot Hunt there, so it probably goes this far, maybe? You can tell I'm making this up as I go along, right? It's an easy game, we can work with that. Best mode right here, it is decidedly the most popular mode in the early going. Yeah, we'll do it live, Trey, that's fine. I think when I looked at the spreadsheet earlier, courtesy of the helmsman of the AVIANART tournament structural mic, we had a 42-point-something% choice rate for True Pot Hunt, which was by far the most chosen mode. Now, admittedly, we're only about 5 days into the tournament, so that could get changed, but I don't know that I'm expecting it to. Because this mode is pretty good. Ah, the chicken shack. But it's not a chicken under the pot. Why is it not a chicken under the pot? Why is that there? One thing that certainly can happen in this mode, especially in the early going, is you just don't find a lot of safety. Parts tend to be a lot more difficult to come by. Mail upgrades now, instead of 216 checks to find a couple of them, we've got, what is it, 700 and something? Maybe more? I forget what the exact count is, but it's a gigantic number. A truly ridiculous number of checks are available. What? 1,000? There's no way that can be right. The machine must be damaged. Death Mountain Descent Cave coming... the top of it coming out at Fake Pod. Okay. That's a thing. Mostly I wanted to comment on the fact that I never think about the fact that all of those pots are in there. It's just I know where one is that has arrows because, well, if you're playing an MG, you may need some arrows every once in a while. Oh, Mini Moldorm Cave, which is not going to be accessible without a moon pearl, or at least I guess you could get in there with a mirror and do some bunny shenanigans, theoretically. Triforce piece on the library. Maddie says, I'd like to get it. I'd really like to get it, but I can't dash. I'm not a super bunny yet. Oh no. Well, here we go. Speaking of Super Bunny and Dungeon Revival shenanigans, here we go. Adilor going to take an intentional death in Misery Mire in the Dark World. No longer Celeste, now back to Mog, and in we go. Most of 48 checks available here. And Maddie has now found a desert, where Adilor was probably 7 minutes ago. Which has a decent handful of Triforce pieces and some other extraneous odds and ends. And a lot of P-hats that don't really like to cooperate. Because nobody ever thinks about how they're going to go about picking up all of these pots, because normally you just don't do it. You know where there's a heart, or arrows, or maybe a small magic decanter if you're looking for that sort of thing, but all the rest of them? How are you ever going to pick those up? The enemies are just going to come for you, and you're not used to dealing with it because you never go there. Oh, a small key to Swamp Palace. Now, normally you would think, oh, the small key to Swamp Palace, that's really important, right? Well, once you start shuffling everything, one small key to Swamp doesn't get you nearly as far as it once did. Since, of course, there's the key that's supposed to be in the first chest, but then there's the key that's supposed to be under the pot, and the key that's supposed to be under the other pot, and the key that's supposed to be under the other pot, and yeah. You need a few more of those. I suppose one thing that I had not appreciated when Adilor was in here, now that Maddie is finding that 3 hundo is not the worst thing in the world. Also noticing that Adilor is up to 1,250 rupees already. And now taking an intentional death warp. Perhaps not the most profitable of plays, but it seems to have worked out. Maddie has made that overtake now, having gone into desert, is now a couple of Triforce pieces up. Like I was saying just a couple of minutes ago, even, you see those lead changes in this, it's a lot more common. It's just a question of who hits what when. Adilor back to Sank does appear to have found the flute on these travels somewhere. And that's convenient. It's not a moon pearl by any stretch of the imagination, but it'll get you around the world if you really need to. It's nicer once you can pair it up with a glove and a hammer and the mirror, of course, but you'll take what you can get in the early going. Oh my, and norskmatty has found the Palace of Pots. There's some darkness here too, but don't kid yourself, really this is just Palace of Pots. It's kind of like Spatula City. Spatula City, Palace of Pots, they probably are on lots right next door to each other. You go down to the outlet mall, you'll find them both. And this is that kind of situation where Matty is likely to start pulling ahead, at least for a little while. Not a bad glove. Adilor grabbing that castle tower small that Matty's had for a decent chunk of time already. Matty is not sure, wants to get at these pots, but not sure how it's going to happen. Looks like he's going to have to do the jump over, hop back down. Ooh, and the beetles say no. Here's Adilor's next bit of density. Matty's been here already, and apparently there were quite a few Triforce pieces that I didn't even notice. What is the play here? Maybe a couple of pots down here at the bottom that I never think about. Yep, there are. Look at that. And then the four surrounding this warp tile, that's fine. Kind of funny, you wonder how interested runners are when they see the pieces of heart popping out from under some of these pots. They're like, okay, I'd like that, please. Adilor has managed to get to a fourth heart at some point. Matty's still on the default 3. Having a bit of a time with that green mimic due mostly to the fact that with the items under the pots you can just lose control of the ability to choose where that's going to go. Oh, first bottle here in the dark for Adilor. Adilor going to turn his nose up at that 50, it looks like. Can't say that I really blame him about that. with 1,355 rupees, you don't really have to worry about cash money, at least at the moment. Although, with all of the potential 200-ish cost Triforce pieces in shops, I'd be tempted. Goron, that would probably work better on me if I had ever played Link's Awakening, but this is my most recent Zelda game. A little mimic clip action there from Matty. Another 3 hundo. And Adilor, having taken care of everything in that room, is going to save and quit. Another Triforce piece, a small key to Hyrule Castle. Okay. Another location that has a few more of those in a mode like this where you've shuffled everything around. But that's going to do for norskmatty's pod adventure, at least for the moment. It has stood him in pretty good stead, closing in on the 25-minute mark. 52 Triforce pieces Matty, 46 for Adilor. I think there's a pot hidden in here, yep, and Adilor's found it. It's only 50 bucks, but he has found it. Yep, go ahead. I'm unlikely to start playing it at this late date. Matty has found the archery game with 1,236 rupees in inventory. Says, nope, I've got better things to do at the time, like keep checking entrances. The old man handing out a singleton heart, which is maybe not the worst thing in the world when you're on Death Mountain with a grand total of 4. And a current total of only 2 when the old man gave it to you. Yeah, rupees, rupees, and more rupees. This is a very rich early game. Little rock small, some goodies for Matty, which I believe Adilor's already got those. So while we're waiting for them to go make checks that we haven't already seen, I'll go ahead and drop the links to them both in chat. A couple of runners playing the game for your entertainment on a Thursday evening. Hamburger Helper Cave does not have any pots in it. The Lost Woods doesn't have many pots in it either, but it does have a Triforce piece growing in the mushroom spot. See some Ice Rod Cave and company here. Adilor has narrowed that gap back down to 1 Triforce piece. That, I believe, is a connector that Matty may have a second to look at here a little later. Ooh, Eastern Palace. Light World Palace of Pots. Here we go. Small key to Tower of Hera. Okay. Not a bad thing to find. Oh, and the bottle fill is absolutely nothing. Throw in an empty bottle, get it right back. Eastern paying some decent dividends here in the early going. Adilor sees the front end of the old man rescue and says, I've already rescued that old man and I already got the pot from here. This is not helpful. Matty has got a second sword here out of Eastern Palace, along with several Triforce pieces. Does know about the hidden pottery under that floor, lower level kind of hiding away. Making sure that he's got everything, working back up and back down to ensure that all three things were found. It'd be pretty terrible to leave something there. Because you'd never really know, so you want to make certain. You can tell I'm not an entrance player. I was wondering why Adilor was going here without the mushroom for just a second. Let you all in on that little spoiler. That's the way my brain works. Why are we going to the witches when we don't even have the mushroom yet? I mean, you could fill the bottle, I guess. You've got enough cash money, but why? It's not as though it's a mode where you really care about fighting the bosses, after all. Light World of Palace of Pots continues paying out, Matty opening up a 10 Triforce piece lead. Likely to be a very temporary lead. Oh, that's a good call, Full Float. You still have to drop in on Bat even if you don't have powder, because there are 2 pots. Why would I ever think of that? There's nothing under them, why would I lift them? Well, because in this mode, what's under them could be Triforce pieces. I don't think this is gonna get you where you need to go any faster, Matty, but yeah, the Death Warp eventually. Lacking a small key to Eastern Palace, of which there are at least a couple. I'd say that Eastern Palace play has paid some dividends, and there's still another entrance here that... Oh, it's the front of Hyrule Castle. Would you look at that? A connector with a bunch of pots. Okay. There's certainly worse things to find here. Ooh, Adilor showing us that the stun prize is pure vanilla. Thanks, video game. That does nothing. And as we're crossing the half-hour mark, I guess we can swap audios. Why not? Matty's maybe just a little louder, and I hadn't been paying attention to that, so we'll change it up. Those handy-dandy sliders are there for. I just have to remember to use them. Ah, so Adilor did find the dam at some point. All the way up to 6 heart containers available now. That's it. Matty has reached 4. 4's not bad, right? It's better than 3. It's not the vanilla value. Ooh, alright, so Adilor unlikely to miss that for very long. Although it's going to be Adilor's glove, I believe. The other one is going to remain hidden for just a little while. I believe it was in Palace of Darkness. There's another one of those Swamp Smalls. appears from the tracker that that is Matty's second Swamp Small. I would call that setting up a bit of an unintentional, intentional death warp there on Matty's side. That guard just didn't want to let him go. Now he's going to take all the hits intentionally. Small key to thieves, and a Triforce, and away we go. Hello, bomb. Adilor doesn't seem to want to go deeper at the moment, is going to go ahead and say that glove is good enough. I can dive further later, maybe when I've got another key to work with, so that I don't orphan the really deep portion of that check. And now Matty is well and truly locked in. Well, that's an unfortunate exit point. It doesn't really do a whole lot. Maybe if the Hyrule Castle other entrances had been a little more convenient and you wanted to drop out in that area, that would be one thing, but it's all the way over here in Fake Ice Rot Cave. And Matty with one more Death Warp. This does feel a little to me like the kind of mode that might benefit from the door's fake mirror. Matty is going to have to be at least a little careful here. There's not a lot of safety bunny walking in the Dark World on Green Mail with 3 current hearts. One of those mobile Venus flytraps or a Hinox will end your trip really quick. Oh, and that was... yeah, that's where Meyer is. I have my suspicions that this is where Adilor found that flute. And it looks like Matty's going to do the same thing that Adilor did upon finding this earlier, going to go ahead and dungeon revive and go in and make some checks. Wanted the heart, took a heart of damage for it, and then turned his nose up at the fairy. That's a series of choices. It's not just a choice, it's an entire series of choices. Adilor still working on the Light World Palace of Pots here. Eastern Palace definitely had the value today. Another small key to swamp, and there is the death. Adilor says that's good enough. Time to see other things. Matty, rather. I think I said Adilor. Not Adilor. Adilor's still working on the vanilla small key room here. It's got a bomb under it. Thanks, game. Now he's seen enough. To convince that murderdactyl to go where you want it to go, now Matty sees Mini Moldorm Cave and has exactly the same problem that Adilor had 20 minutes ago. I can see it, but I can't do anything in it. And there is the end of the line, Matty with an overworld death to the murderdactyl. Ah, there's that drop. It was worth a couple of Triforce pieces. Adilor closing that gap right back up. 82 norskmatty, 81 Adilor. That's not particularly helpful on either side. Matty deciding to continue. Going to play dances with Lionels here. Successfully, as it turns out. I'm mildly surprised that he did not buy that heart for 10 rupees. Maybe thinking that this portion of the program is going to end fairly soon, and that thus, what's the point? And Gina's Cave. Everybody's second favorite elder is very far off the beaten path today. And now Adilor comes out at Ganon's Tower, and appears to be making exactly the same choice. A couple of extra hearts to work with here should make this a little bit easier, though. Matty having almost exactly the same problem with the laser door here that Adilor had earlier. Now that's a choice to lift the bunny beam pot first. Let's see how it works out. Seems to have done okay for him. Adilor evening up on the information there, knows the things that Matty knows again. Still that one Triforce piece gap obtains. Don't know that you're going to escape all of that, maybe? Oh, well, yeah, that's the real concern. Blue and the green male, 4 hearts. 1 pokey. That'll do. That will do. Now, I think that this is farther than Adilor chose to go in Turtle Rock, maybe? Maybe? It becomes tough to remember at times. So we're going to try round 2 of Dances with Pokey. It did have a Triforce piece, worth doing. And with a couple of keys in hand, Matty is going to go ahead and have the look-see. Adilor has discovered the Palace of Pots. I believe there's a glove in here for him somewhere. A thing that does not change a whole lot until the runners get real honest-to-goodness Dark World access, via having a Moon Pearl. Oh, the big key to Eastern Palace. That's not exactly what I would call timely. Ice Palace conceals 25 vital items. Well, one of these days, Hint Tile will find that dungeon, and then maybe something will happen, but Fire Rod or Bombos is going to be required too. Matty with a bit of an edge at the 45-minute mark, 92 Triforce pieces to 88, but recall that Adilor is currently in Palace of Pots. Likely to be gaining a little more before all is said and done. And once again, Adilor reaches the end of the road. Still one shy of Matty's total. 93 to 92 now. Closing in on the century mark. Closing in on the halfway mark. Ah, is that where that was? Very ostentatious location for the dam in this seed. Adilor has, in fact, already found this. And indeed has also checked the item that was the sunken treasure. Ooh, well. And there's the other end of that particular question, the Dark Mountain Ascent. Concealing Swamp Palace. Now, without any flippers, that does not really help Adilor right at the moment. And depending on where those flippers are, it may never help. But given that we've already seen a couple of small keys to that dungeon, I expect sooner or later we're going to get some kind of an answer. Between Swamp and Ice, you would think that flippers would be at least somewhat available in a given seed of True Pot Hunt. Maybe they're not. Well, Adilor going to remember to check the shop here. Oh, well, looky there. Spend 4 rupees to gain 50, and then spend a whole 3 hundo and pick up a bow. A second bottle with a B. The Triforce piece. The Triforce piece is better. And now those sticks may actually be meaningful, now that Adilor has something to fire them with. And a couple of more Triforce pieces. And a little cash money. There we are. It took a little while, but there's another one of those lead changes. Lead change number 3. Adilor 98, norskmatty 93. Yep, Veer, he got the money! Imagine being a runner and you see the money. It's right there, and you don't pick it up. Just get the money! Ah, Matty has also seen the... Ooh, well. Hello, myself. Fancy seeing you there, all shiny and reflective. Now, I'm pretty sure that both Matty and Adilor know where this was. Yeah, they've both picked up the 2 pots there on the other side of that entrance, but weren't able to get in earlier because there were no gloves earlier. Oh, the real boots! But we're already using real boots, so that doesn't change anything for Adilor. The cape might. And now Adilor's going to go falling into Skull Woods. A nice little circle of 12 pots. Castle Tower small, interesting. I'm going to go ahead and take the death to gain full Mog status. Now it's a whole lot easier to collect everything that you need to collect here. Here are some pots that you usually don't think about existing. Missouri Meyer small, that's not bad. Couple of Triforce pieces, okay. Certainly worse things you could find there. Another convenient drop for a few more checks. Game over, just kidding. ballroom has a lot of value in this mode, doesn't it? Including the Bombos medallion. So, remember what I was saying earlier about Ice Palace potentially being on the menu? Well, Ice Palace is a lot closer to on the menu now. Another Hyrule Castle small. More Triforce. Triforce is good. Triforce is good. Blink and you missed Adilor crossing the halfway marker here, all the way up to 120 Triforce pieces now. I don't know, I think that mirror for 500 in the shop was worth more than that Triforce piece for 500 from the Zora Lord for a whole host of reasons. Johnny Two Bombs, not Johnny Two Boomerangs, Johnny Two Bombs, or at least one bomb in this case. Not a whole lot there worth writing home about. That is an adorable place for a hookshot video game. I approve, even though I don't approve. Spare small key to Eastern Palace. Probably want to be using that to go to the back rather than to check the Vanilla Big Key location. I think there's simply more density in that direction. And Maddie found the bow in the shop, is still not landed on the mirror in the shop. And of course all of that is only... There's the mirror in the shop. All of that is only so useful because, still as we close in on the hour mark, no Moon Pearl. J-Jo almost finished one of these without one. That was a sight to behold, but no, eventually, near the end of the game, he did decide that in the interest of trying to win the game, that he was going to go ahead and pick the Moon Pearl up. It worked out for him. He knows where there are a couple of 200 rupee Triforce pieces and says no to them for the time being. Ah, right, that's where this is. Okay. It can be difficult to remember where that cave goes, since it's not often used a lot. You have to be really hard up for safety in a more normal seed to get into that location. Maddie is back to Eastern, has not found either of those small keys, or at least the small key that Adilor already found, so this is a bit of a choice. I suppose with the big key you can get the big chest, and then there's a decent chunk of stuff you can still get your hands on, but I feel like you're not getting past the Igor room unless you happen to luck into the other small key here, which you could. It's not entirely outside the realm of possibility, it's just not likely. So this may be Maddie's final trip into Eastern Palace. Unless those small keys lock something particularly important, I'm not expecting that we're going to see a third return trip. Adilor making the one-way trip through Spiral Cave for the Fire Rod. Okay. Fire Rod's the thing you can get there. Patty gonna use some more of these Hyrule Castle smalls to work into the back of Hyrule Castle. This seems good. It's potentially good. No, that was maybe not everything that he had hoped for. Adilor performing just as many mirror shenanigans as possible here. Okay, game, that's funny. I approve. Meyer Shack has translocated from slightly left of Meyer to slightly right of Meyer. Does have a Triforce piece for the trouble of super bunnying into it with the mirror. Oh, and Maddie has found, well, it may not be the mother lode with only one key, but once you have the requisite number of keys and the appropriate items, you can really do some substantial damage in here. 120 checks available in Ganon's Tower. Not to be underestimated, the Palace of the Pig. Let us see where Adilor wants to go, considering a flute to 5. Really considering a flute to 5. Maddie gets a Triforce piece from Tile Room, says, alright, that's enough for that side, let's go to the other side. I don't have a hammer, so this is not going to go very far either. And a small key to the Palace of Ice. Crossing the hour mark here, I guess we'll go ahead and swap the audio back over. Matty in a bit of a tight spot for health here. Probably going to show us the death warp here. Maybe not. Maybe so. Well, looks like he wants to continue on in the Mimic's rooms. It's fine, there are a couple of pots in the second one. There's a big key door in the next room, and that's gonna lock him the rest of the way out. Now, Adilor has found the bomb hut, which has already turned up 4 Triforce pieces, and a blue cane. 5 Triforce pieces and a blue cane. Okay, that's pretty good. That is extending Adilor's Triforce piece lead 133 to 117. Fake Saha's closet does have pots in it. Just 1 Triforce piece to show for it, but you're not going to turn it down. Fake Ice Rod Cave for Matty, that does not do anything. Adilor thought about a Flute to 1, has decided against it in favor of a start at the Old Man Mountain location. Matty's going to need a little cooperation from the enemies here on half a heart, trying, it looks like, to check the Swamp Palace entrance. Adilor has found Thieves' Town. I don't think anybody knows how to route this dungeon in this mode, but you do your best John Madden impersonation, you go everywhere and do all the things, and by the end it looks like you've just scribbled on a map of Thieves' Town. Ah, the front of Turtle Rock. Now, Matty doesn't have the fire rod yet, so this I don't think does all that much for him, although there are a couple of pots in the central hub there. Adilor does seem to have a non-negligible equipment advantage at the moment, particularly being that fire rod and hookshot. And the Key Pokey did have a Triforce piece. As long as I'm not badly misreading Adilor's tracker, he does not have the big key to this dungeon yet. But who knows, it could be in its vanilla location. Wouldn't be the first time. Matty wants to do that torch puzzle, but yeah, fire rod or bust. Oh, the Turtle Rock tile room. Here's a choice. I'm honestly not sure how much is behind this. One pot. Okay. That's a choice. I guess you're here, and from Maddie's perspective, it could be some of the very convenient items that Adilor already has that we know are not here. Oh, there's a fairy in it, too. Well, that's a thing. Yeah, pool float, that doesn't surprise me, but you know Maddie, he's one of those try-hard NMG people, so he's got to show off. Ah, Laser Bridge. This is a location. Doesn't seem to have been much of a location, though. Another Triforce piece to put on the board. Another bottle with a B. This room really kind of feels like a Zelda 2 room to me. Players of the game will probably know what I'm talking about, but there are some rooms where you've got kind of a grid-shaped pattern of blocks that you usually have to destroy to move through. It feels kind of like that. Bottle percent for Adilor, 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 39 seconds. It even had a blue potion in it. More cash money. Why would you expect anything else? Couple more Triforce pieces for Adilor there. Oh, and a big key. One of these rare big keys. That one to Desert. Uh-oh. Yeah, that missed arrow shot is going to cost Adilor a little bit in time. I wonder if he's inclined to go back. Appears that the answer to that's going to be yes. Just a small magic decanter hiding there. Doesn't look like we're going to see the TR Rupee room proper there. Adilor getting ready to float away. Adilor, that's a pot, not a switch. It's not going to do what you think it's going to do. Or rather, norskmatty. Man, I'm staring at one screen, looking at the other name, going, and here's Ice Palace. Cold Stare has a map? Is that what that said? Maybe these are another couple of runners that I have this kind of sneaking suspicion are really the same person. Maybe that's what's going on here, why I keep trying to call Matty Adilor. Maybe they're just the same runner in my brain. Items available in Ice Palace. One small key in inventory, at least at the moment. Matty has found thieves. Adilor is going to have a little work to do. Oh, yep, does get the double kill there, barely. This video game, I'm pretty sure that Adilor knows that there are a bunch of Triforce pieces in Turtle Rock. Shockingly enough, he's been there already. Oh my, the Moon Pearl in Ice Palace. There you go. That's a thing you can find there. It's entrance rando. You don't even have to wonder why it's there. It's a perfectly valid location. It's going to make Adilor's traversal of the rest of the seed even easier. Trying to get all those pin gators out of the way so that he can collect the other pot. Whoa. Small key to desert. Okay. That big key to desert. Maybe Adilor starts considering Desert North at some point, although I don't think either of the runners have found Desert North yet. Backtracking here, Adilor may have forgotten to remember some locations. Like the gigantic room of everything. Another desert small. Fascinating. gobs of Triforce pieces. And a piece of heart with no timely refill attached. Adilor is in Turtle Rock Front now. We're going to get to see what's behind the torch puzzle. And Teto, thank you for subscribing at Tier 1. Welcome in. Thank you for supporting the tournament. In case anybody is curious as to what's going to happen with that, the first thing we're going to do is pay for Cody's server costs, since he's been kind enough thus far to donate them to us. And there are some other plans, and we should probably make an announcement about that at some point. We haven't, and I've just missed it. Hey Beer, if you're still out there, you should probably, you and Mike should probably talk about that thing and post something up. Just a thought. Yeah, Beer's probably out having delicious tacos or bratwurst or something. He's probably not paying any attention right now. He trusts me too much. He thinks I should be allowed to do things like this on my own. Heck W. Back to the small child with the Triforce piece. Adilor has that one already. Adilor's lead seems to have grown a little bit, looking at a 170 to 144 gap here at the hour and 21 minute mark. Matty is getting into the back Palace of Darkness here. Let's see how this does. Adilor is into another section of Skull Woods now, and this seems to be working out fairly well. Triforce pieces, and a small key to the Palace of Ice. Hey, that place I just left, I've got a key for it now. Why is that there? 178 to 151 now. Maddie can proceed just a little further. We're really making the most of the Skull Woods play, finding one more good drop. Now, we say good drop, but ooh, well, there's a death. That's fine. You save and quit right back to the drop point. Imagine finding a spare shield there. Small key to Turtle Rock. I feel like our runners have looted Turtle Rock fairly thoroughly at this point. Another small key to Desert Palace. That's got to be close to all of them. There might be 4 grand total. Adilor has 3. Whatever the ultimate count is, 3 is pretty decent. Let's see. Adilor and K45. With a few Triforce pieces for the trouble. That's not bad. Also, apologies for any potential upcoming technical difficulties. We do have a summer shower rolling in here, replete with a little electrical storm, so the off chance exists that the power goes out. Unlikely, but not unheard of. Now, if that does happen, Beer, I'm counting on you to have all of this cropped and ready to go on your end. If it's down for more than a couple of minutes, you've just got to bring it back up and see it through to the end. You'll notice that Beer has not said anything for about 20 minutes at this point. I doubt he's listening. So Adilor now finding Ganon's Tower, the quote-unquote mother lode. There's still no hammer, incidentally, but does have the fire rod, so is going to be able to check at least a little more than Maddie was able to. Triforce pieces for Adilor. That's going to bring the total up to 194. Are within the final 20. Oh, and it's a good thing that one of those bottles had blue potion in it. Adilor getting a little bit lax with the fire rod shots there and needed to top back up to get through. But get through he did, and speaking of getting through, Matty is going to go ahead and Super Bunny the Generous Thief Cave. With fake boots. That he's even going to manage to leave in place. Nope, gonna grab him after all. What a completionist. Yeah, don't worry, Gil. Matty did it. The hero we needed, if perhaps not the one we deserved. I believe there was even a Triforce piece in it, so Adilor is leaving something behind there that he might want. Seems fairly unlikely, as he's now 15 Triforce pieces away from the goal, but you never know. Matty working on Super Bunnying a real Ice Rod Cave. Or Triforce piece. Yeah, right, Gil? Not gonna be happy when you're looking around for what you need next, and, well, you just bypassed it. It's a choice. It's a choice you can make. It's a choice that Adilor's making even as we speak. Super Bunny Pops is just so impressive. It's so much faster. The animation is just there they go. Small key to thieves, which doesn't change anything without a big key to thieves. Humorously enough. Adilor with an even 200 Triforce pieces. The countdown begins. Matty is going to need to do some substantial damage here in Skullwoods, and there is some damage to be done here. What Adilor really needs is to find one more. This is probably the answer Adilor needs. The back of desert in the Dark Mock Rocks by Link's house. Plenty of pots back here. Has 3 small keys to get on through and the big key. Oh, half magic. That would have been convenient earlier. Maybe not so much now. Remain for Adilor now. We're still hanging out sub 180, 179 on norskmatty's side. $204. And saying no to the boss. That's respectable. Boss fights are time-consuming. But that didn't change Adilor's count as much as one might initially have expected. Still 9 to go. Also, Gil, don't you have a race restream to prep for? Matty has gotten into the back of the escape sequence. There's a big key to Misery Mire. Some Triforce pieces abound here. Up to 184, but that's still a 20 Triforce piece gap. Going to need something to close this thing up. Well, Adilor is going to start looking into the 3 entrances in the Dark Shopping Mall. Check 1, Back of Skull. Back of Skull has a lot to be said for it, but without a small key, maybe a little less helpful. There are a few pots in the front, but there's quite a bit more behind that small key-locked door there. Seems to have done pretty well on Triforce piece density, though. 207! Yeah, I don't know, Oro. I sure don't. Yep, you have no key, Addy. You can't go through there. Not gonna work. Well, that's fine. There are 2 more entrances here. Maybe this one... Ooh, we have 2 purchasable 200 Triforce pieces. 209. C-shaped house, you are a long way from home. Wait, full float? Who needs co-coms? Imagine having a co-commentator, right? Funny Cave does not help quite that much from that direction, unfortunately. Adilor heading towards the back of Hyrule Castle, 212. I'm pretty sure when Matty is making that stair transition that he's losing the Super Bunny effect. Pretty sure that's how that works. Plenty more pots here, and we know that Adilor has enough small keys to go all the way to the back. Does not matter. There is 213, 214 for good measure. Says good enough. 213, 214. We'll make it a nice even number. Get the flute out. The flute to 4 coming in. This is the part where you can go ahead and start getting your GGs ready, because there's not a pig fight coming up. All he has to do is turn all these things in, and it is gravy. Go ahead and put those GGs in chat for Adilor, who is going to take this thing home, going to win this match in Group Albatrosses with a race time of 1 hour, 37 minutes, and 57 seconds. look at Discord just in case Adilor decides he wants to come in here and talk about this a little bit, which is entirely possible. I may even have to get my headset on at that point. Something that I didn't have to do because I don't have a co-commentator. And it looks like Matty has seen the race room and has thrown in the towel. Also appears to still be playing. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe that's the point where he noticed. Getting ready to go down, and yeah. Joined in the booth here by Adilor. GG.
Hi, thank you. GG.
Let me make sure that that audio is going out before we get too far down the beaten path. Yeah, Discord's on. We should be fine.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, imagine doing, yeah. At least I didn't have to do tracking. Capturing personal trackers is easy. And hey,
yeah,
Matty as well. Good game.
Yeah, GG's.
Joined
did
in the
Adilor
booth
find
by
Moon Girl?
Adilor. GG.
I sure did.
Okay.
You were coming up on it. You were going to get there. You
that
were
audio
is going out. Kind of find the fire rod. I don't think though. Yeah, Discord's on.
Weird thing is, I guess when I make pot hunt seeds, I now have a flavor, and that's Moon Pearl in Ice Palace Bomb
At
Jump
least I
Room.
didn't have to do tracking. Capturing personal.
Yeah, where was the fire rod?
And
I'm
hey,
in ice,
Matty
but it's
as well.
not in
Good
logic
game.
because I got the bombos
Yeah,
from Skull.
GG's.
Oh.
Did Adilor find
was
Moon
Fire
Girl?
Rod? I don't remember.
Okay.
You were coming up on it. You were going to get there. I was hoping that you were going to remember because I sure don't. This is entrance. I pay as little attention as humanly possible.
Oh man, I don't know. Hold on, let me.
I feel like there's very few places it could be, but maybe I missed something.
This is what VODs are for,
Yeah,
right?
where was the fire rod? Because I'm in ice, but it's not in logic because I got the bombos from
Stop
Skull.
my local recording, scrub it, and we'll find the fire rod. Because I
was hoping
I have the
that
kind
you
of
were
brain
going to
that does not
because I
remember
sure
these
don't.
things
This is
in Roller
entrance.
Race.
I pay as little attention as humanly
It's
possible.
interesting to see if I could have done it without, because I think it would like there's very few places.
I'm not sure. There's not very many
Maybe I
things
missed
left.
something.
How much
This
did you
is
get?
what VODs are
What
for,
was
right?
your total when you stopped?
I don't track it. I don't know.
Oh, your tri-horses, your triangles.
183.
Oh, okay. It's 30 off. Okay. Yeah, once I got Pearl out of ice, it was basically like, okay, now I can do things. So I just like started in Village and
It's
just
interesting to see if I could
started
have done it
attacking
without,
entrances.
because
I ran into
I think it would've been
GT
Close.
at
I'm not sure. There's not very
K45.
many things left.
Didn't have a lot in GT.
I don't
Gates
track it.
And
I
no
don't know.
big, so there wasn't a ton there, but I did what I could.
183.
And then just kind of headed down south. Came across Ice Palace. No, I think I did ice earlier. No, because I did ice earlier. Pearl, yeah, duh. And then found desert. The back of desert was at the Bonk Rocks at Dark House. So I did everything in there, and then went out to Dark Shopping Mall. Found the back of Skull. Would have probably finished there, but I was still lacking skull keys. I only had one skull small, which was weird. And then I ended then after that I just mirrored to Castle Front, and I had 3 smalls at that point. Just went towards sewers and finished there.
Okay.
Let's
I was running
see.
around all over the place without that Moon Pearl. Back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah. I want. The heck is my videos folder? Let me do a little search for that fire rod. Where was it? Fire rod is. Oh, it's in Spiral Cave. That's right. Oh man, that
Where
one
was
off
that?
house. Spiral Cave at the top entrance is at Desert Front. It's it's a spot for that. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I didn't find that. I don't
So
know.
I ran across that and I was like, you know what? Fine. I haven't seen the bottom of Spiral. Let's see where this goes because I'm always curious about connectors. And
Maybe that was an exit I did not take.
yeah, the Spiral exit was Where the heck did that kick out? Was that at? Oh, the TR bottom entrance. Okay, so that was the exit to there, as you will always have one there. Yeah. You weren't going to stumble upon that one naturally, but yeah, that was in a spot. I was like, oh, fire rods, that's good to have. Yeah, that was fun. Definitely not a quick one like yesterday's. Purity one got through it in like 1:13ish or something like that. It was super fast. This one, I think you'd be harder pressed to finish without Moon Pearl in this one. It seems like there's more in the Dark World to find in this one.
Yeah, I don't think that I would have been able to without the Moon Pearl. There's not too much. I mean, maybe I could. Nah, I don't think so. But yeah, GG. I do have to run. I got some things to do, but good choice. Troopa Hunt is my favorite mode.
It's awesome. I love it.
It seems to be the one true mode of the tournament thus far.
I know, it's been really popular. Look at the graph. I love it. Yeah.
If I just look at the schedule, I think it's like there's just a string of Troopa Hunts with a few other things interspersed within.
But yeah, thank you for putting on the show, Matty. If you gotta run, you gotta run. Can't necessarily say that life always comes first when you just spent the hour and 45 minutes playing the video game, but you gotta do the things you gotta do so that you can keep playing the game too, right?
That's right. Now I gotta go help my parents out.
So, well, what a dutiful son you are.
I am. But thanks for the restream, and good job, Adilor. I'll play you again soon.
Yeah.
For game 2.
Figure out when to schedule that one soon, yeah.
All right. Well, see you later, everyone.
See you.
Yep, game 2 between these two coming at an yet to be determined date. Adilor taking this one down. Now, that's going to be your final game of this whole group stage, isn't it?
Yeah. Albatrosses, we just decided to charge ahead. Purdy Wong and Tyler Salt both want to just knock theirs out real fast. So this was my 5th game today. And that puts me at 3-2 in the group overall. So one more win should put me through to stage 2, I'm hoping. I don't see how 4-2 wouldn't. Should be okay at that point. So.
Well, there's gonna be a little danger there because remember, with the number of players we wound up with, we had to shuffle the musical chair stage around a little bit, and it's going to be the top out of each group, and then the one lucky second placer.
Oh, right. Okay.
So 4-2 is pretty good, but you're then going to be counting on nobody else topping you up with a 5-1, and Tyler Salt still with 1 loss. Everybody else just with, well, this would be Matty's second, I guess. So 4-2, we could still wind up with a whole slew of potential situations where 4-2 is a very interesting number to be if Matty can take the rematch off of you.
I forgot about that mix up. Yeah, we'll see what I guess we'll see how the rest of the group shakes out. Yeah. Or if I just get super lucky, but yeah, probably not at that point. It'll been fun either way. Even if I don't get out of group stage 1, it was still a blast doing this. I'm enjoying these modes thoroughly, except for like Inverted Miser, which is stupid because it's still ludicrous, and ludicrous is dumb, and nobody should like it. I'm sorry, I have opinions.
That seems to be a not uncommon sentiment. It does seem to put a lot of things that various portions of the community dislike together in one place. So from one perspective, you can say there's a lot in there. You can find something in there that you like. And you can also say that, well, maybe you're going to find something within that mix that you don't particularly care for.
Yeah. And that is exactly right. Like, there are things I like about it. It does take Ludicrous, which was a mode I played once in ladder, and it's just like, okay, well, that was fun. I'm never doing it again. It adds some stuff to it. You've got the spice of like boss shuffle in there. It does mix it up quite a bit. And just enemy shuffle too, actually. And the inverted makes it kind of weird. Like anything inverted is also just such a weird mode, regardless of whether it has keys. Anti-Roja yesterday was kind of a wild thing. It reminds me that inverted keys is a crazy thing every time when it concerns pod. Yeah, you're right. There's something people will like in that, but it is still at its core like ludicrous, which I feel like usually ends up with you boss rushing like 7 dungeons, which just kind of it stops being fun really fast.
Yeah, sounds reasonable to me, but by and large, you've been enjoying it. It seems like everybody is enjoying this troop hot hunt mode. Before you started pulling away, finding that fire rod and the moon pearl, we had, I think, 3 lead changes before you finally grabbed a lead and held on to it. So
Okay, yeah.
it becomes one of those modes that, as I was saying way back at the beginning of the broadcast, I feel like is one of the more interesting from a viewer perspective,
Yes.
because every time a runner hits a new pocket of density, the lead can change.
Hmm. And it's like, yeah, every time someone finds a dungeon the other one hasn't, or like maybe it's been a bit and they're just catching up, like, yeah, it bounces back and forth. You're exactly right. But
And there was a decent chunk of time where Matty was in the lead, and then you would go somewhere he'd been, and there was one Triforce piece that he had found way back at something like minute 7 or 8 that you didn't find, and so
okay.
you kept coming to within one Triforce piece of Matty, and that happened 2 or 3 times as well. It's like, is this the time where he's finally going to overtake? Is this the time that he's finally going to overtake? And then finally you did. Mostly by finding the fire rod and getting that moon pearl a little earlier to make your life quite a bit easier.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that was a very Dark World dependent seed, it certainly felt like from commentary.
Yeah, no kidding. Um anything, I mean, you like to have the pearl even if just for Skull Woods, because like you can do a lot of Skull without it, but I mean, technically it requires it. And Skull has 91 checks in it. It's just there's so much in Skull. It's crazy, but it's crazy dense. So, and there were several entrances I don't even touch. I don't know where um what dungeon didn't I find? I think I saw everything, didn't I? No, Hera. Hera's the one dungeon I have no idea where it is. That's probably the Dark World somewhere.
Yeah, quite possibly. So, any
And
final thoughts as we start wrapping this one up? I already have a raid target in mind. Gilgamesh, who hung out and watched most of this one, is going to restream Talon Lana Bean in this tournament. That should be starting here within the next handful of minutes, and I know he's already live.
no, I think I'm good. This one was fun. Kind of wish I found the hammer so I could have done swamp, but hey, so be it. So you're gonna come in with missing a couple of big items you're just not gonna find because you only gonna do like half the pool. So it's fun. It's neat. I love
Yeah, hammer? What hammer?
it.
Okay, so that's going to do it for this particular edition of the AVIANART 2022 Albatross group stage matchup between Adilor and norskmatty, a game that Adilor has come out victorious in. Thank you one more time for putting this thing on, and, well, thanks me, I guess, since I did the tracking technically by cropping everything and the restreaming and the commentary. And now, as I hear the thunder in the background, I know that I should probably go ahead and say, fare thee all well. We're going to go over to Gilgamesh, who is in this tournament and is currently restreaming a match in Group Corvid. Talon versus Lanabean in Inverticrus Miser. So yeah, have a good rest of your day, everybody. No matter how you choose to spend it, I'm going to hopefully spend it with the power not going out. And we'll see if I get the option to send this raid relatively quickly, and of course I don't. Why would I? But that's fine. It takes a minute or so, which is fine. Everybody can decide whether or not they're going to follow along or not. Such is life. Talon is finding an ice rod. Yeah, they've already started. They're a minute and a half into this thing already, so we're going to be jumping in basically on the ground floor. Ooh, there's one of those weird balloon explodey guys in the front right-hand room of Skull Woods, too. That's a fun one. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and shut up, let the timer run out on this thing, and we should be good to go here momentarily. Thank you, everybody.